Welcome to CityWise. I'm your host, Tiana Stevens. CityWise is produced by the City of Rochester to shine a spotlight on city living at its best. Well, the city's Summer of Opportunity program and the Rochester Works Summer Youth Employment program are gearing up to offer another season of career exploration and employment opportunities for young people in Rochester. We're joined today by Kareem Hayes, the city's manager of Youth Employment Services, as well as Theodore Jordan Jr., Youth Services Manager for Rochester Works. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
Pleasure.
So these two programs have been around for a while, but for people that don't know, and the acronym is SOOP, what is SOOP and what is the Summer Youth Employment Program? Kareem?
Well, SOOP is the Summer of Opportunity program.
And the SIUP stands for Summer Youth Employment Program offered through Rochester Works.
And a brief description of both of these programs and how do they work together?
Sure. I mean, the programs are very similar, really just two different names, but the same purpose, and that's just to get youth jobs. And so with it, we are able to hire city youth, and then we're also able to hire youth from the surrounding Monroe County area as well. Yeah.
And our target population are youth who are between the ages of 14 through 20 who are either in high school or connected to a task program. So that's our target population for this program.
And every year, literally thousands of youth apply for these jobs. How many are you expecting to apply this year, and how many positions are available?
Wow. Last year we had over 3,500 youth apply, and with roughly about 800 or so slots. But this year, I think we're going to be expecting for that number of folks to apply to be up closer to 4,000. But we still have the 800 slots this year.
Wow, and there are a few changes this year. Theodore, you mentioned 14 years old is where you start, and what is the cutoff date for that?
You have to be 14 by May 31st in order to be able to apply for this opportunity for this summer.
What are some of the other qualifications that youth must meet?
Sure. They have to first apply online. So the online application opens February 22nd until March 19th. And so during that time, youth will have to have a email address. We know that this is the 21st century, and part of having a job is to have a working email address. So that'll be open from February 22nd to March 19th. And then also youth have to submit their documents. They have to submit their social security, copy of their social security card, copy of their photo ID. There's also a signature page from the online application that they have to have a copy as well. And then they also
most recent report card.
Yes.
And also for those that are in working age, they will need a copy of their work permit.
Absolutely.
Why is it important to look at grades when considering youth for summer employment?
That actually helps us look at the attendance record because, again, if we want them to go out for a 6-week work experience, we want to make sure that they're going to school on time, and that would be indicative if they would actually be able to go to work on time to show up for the program.
And we know, and also too, it's also a conversation, piece as well. It does not disqualify a youth if their report card doesn't look up to par, but it garners a conversation about attendance, about grades, and just really letting them know, it's important for you to go to school. It's important for you to have good grades. We want to make sure that you are on the right track to graduate from high school, because most jobs you need a high school diploma in order to be eligible, to work.
So 800 jobs representing so many different fields and areas. Can you just give us a little idea of what sort of jobs are out there for you?
Yeah, sure.
Well, we actually have them categorized in different categories. For example, they can work in culinary arts, information technology, manufacturing. They can also do something in the area of workforce development. So we've partnered with different community-based organizations who are actually developing project themes around those different categories that we spoke about.
So specifically for the youth?
For the youth, yes.
Yeah. And we've also had youth work in different city departments as well.
Oh, sure. City Hall.
Oh, absolutely. City Hall and some other departments, and just really getting a real life sense of what it's like to work. All of us, I know that we work full-time jobs and doing this on a day-to-day, but for them just to get a glimpse to see, you know, maybe type of jobs that their parents are doing, you know, being in the office or, you know, being out in the field, and so it's a great experience.
When you have a young person who is either they're new to the program or they're really not sure what they want to do or what careers they want to explore, how do you guide them towards something that they'd be interested in and enjoy?
Well, we do have a provider fair where once the young person goes through the application process, they are invited to a mandatory provider fair. And at the provider fair, any of the programs that will be able to host a young person for the summer, the young person will actually be able to go and find out what opportunities are available, and then they can select which program they would like to participate in. It's not guaranteed, but we do try to match them up as best as possible with one of their first or third choices.
Right. And we understand that this is a first-time experience for a lot of our youth. It's always good to put a name to a face, a description, you know, to a face. And so last year, you know, having our provider fair really allowed not just the youth to be able to see the type of jobs that are available and the potentially people that they will be working for, but also for the employers to see the youth and who they are and be able to put a name to a face as well.
So will interviews happen right there at the provider fair?
So no, interviews are not at the provider fair. It's more of a recruitment. It's more of for the youth to be able to see what's available. You know, it's kind of like when you are, you know, in the mall and you have all these different restaurants and you are able to try, you know, see, well, which one am I going to pick? So sometimes you get a brave soul that says, you know, let's just try all of them and see what they are. So for the youth, they're able to see the different types of jobs that are available, and they're able to recruit. Another part of the provider fair is the job selection form.
Right, the job selection form. So the young person would select which program they want, and then the programs would actually interview the youth to see who would actually be selected for their program. So that happens a little bit later, but the initial aspect will be for the youth to kind of figure out where they want to go, and then we would actually make the referral, and the program would actually interview the youth.
You said the word recruitment. How do you recruit employers to come on to these programs, and are there other areas that maybe you're lacking in that you'd like to see more variety?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is part of it here, being here on the show, but also
we also have a direct placement piece where we have a certain number of slots geared more for individuals who are 16 through 20, and those are considered direct placement where they actually work directly with the employer. And so we actually are recruiting now where we actually have information about the program. We do have an internship request form where basically all the employer would have to do would be to provide a structured work experience for the young person, and then we would cover all the other administrative costs. So it's a very good program for employers to become involved and to work with some of our youth.
Are all the positions paid positions for, or are there also opportunities for like school credit? You mentioned internships.
No, all of the positions are paid. So I mean, which is great. You know, one of the things about working in the summer is that youth want to have a check, you know, coming in. I mean, to say the volunteer experiences are great, you know, as well, and we definitely encourage that. But for the summer, for all of our positions, they are paid positions.
How important is parental involvement? So if the youth are starting at 14, that's pretty young. How do you get parents involved, and what do you tell them to prepare for?
We have a number of parent orientations. For individuals who are 14 and 15, it is mandatory for the parent to come to one of the parent orientations. And we actually have a couple different dates set up, March 9th, March 12th, and March 23rd for the parents to come out, and they will understand the entire process. For those who are 16 through 20, it's not mandatory, but it's strongly encouraged because the process has changed over the years.
What success stories can you share from maybe a person that came in as young as 14 and now they've, you know, they're in college maybe?
Oh, sure. I mean, there's a young man who's worked for a particular agency, and he blossomed. I mean, started at the age of 14, and he worked his way up to the point to where he was able to work year-round for this particular organization. And then one last summer, he decided, you know what, I want to do something a little bit different. And so he was able to work work in one of the city departments, and let me tell you, he blossomed. Even to this day, I'm still hearing raving reviews about this young man and what he's been doing, and that's a testament to the programs. We talk about career exploration. I mean, at 14 and 15, you're learning how to be on time. You're learning to work under a supervisor. You're learning to get things done within a timely manner. He was able to take all those skills and those assets, and he was able to apply them to work in one of the city departments, and it was just amazing to see. And so this year, you know, he's on track to graduate, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next.
That's wonderful. So do youth need to reapply every year for the programs, or you know, do they return to the same job?
No, they reapply every year. You know, they still have to go through the application process, resubmit a copy of their documents that we mentioned before. Every year is a clean slate. Like we said, we have over 3,000 youth who are applying, and so you know, we want to make sure that the opportunity is there.
Theodore, what's your best advice to the kids that are getting ready to apply, go to the provider fair, have real job interviews? What do you tell them to prepare them?
I would encourage them to attend the parent orientation because the entire process has changed. For example, this year, everything is going to be tied to an actual email address. For example, some individuals are going to be invited to the provider fair, others will be invited to the direct placement fair, and those invitations will come via email. We've actually changed the application process where when they actually go in to apply, they're going to get a confirmation email to make sure that it's a valid email address. So again, I would encourage them to go to our website, look at our flyer, and follow the process.
And Kareem, SOOP is under an umbrella of programs of the mayor that kind of, you know, take you every step of the way as far as employment. Can you explain what that is?
Sure. We also have Operation Transformation Rochester Youth Employment Training, and a lot of those youth that go through the training, they eventually go into Summer of Opportunity program, and what we saw this year was more youth who were ready for the interviews, more youth who were ready to work, more youth who were prepared to be, you know, in that work environment. And so the end goal is for youth to be prepared going into these jobs and to hopefully work year round.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Again, for more information on Rochester Works Summer Youth Employment Program, visit rochesterworks.org, and to learn more about the city's Summer of Opportunity Program, you can call 428-6366 or visit cityofrochester.gov/SOOP. CityWise will be right back.